All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we'll start with Section 2, approval of the agenda. Item 2.1 will be changes to agenda and approval of agenda. I need a motion to accept the agenda.
Make the motion.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. So now we're to Section 3, recognitions, and tonight 3.1 is Proclamation of National Education Support Professionals Day, as presented by our superintendent, Mr. Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant, School Board. This is a time each year where I think we're able to pause and reflect upon our entire school district. And one of the things that we like to say, and you can see it right up here in terms of our pillars, on the very top it talks about OCSD family. And we also say that everyone's important or no one's important. And I think when you think about our educational support professionals and what they do each and every day, our school district could not survive, and our school district would not be able to thrive without the work that you all do each and every day. And you think about whether it's our bus drivers, whether it's our health techs, whether it's custodians, the front office secretaries, it's the food service workers, everybody who comes together for this school district, it makes a difference. And I know in my role, whether it's where I sit today, whether it was when being a principal, I was not able to do the things that we needed to do. Our teachers weren't able to do the things that they needed to do, and our students weren't able to thrive the way that they were able to thrive without the hard work of our educational support professionals. And I know that each of you have very specific thoughts, and you can think back to folks who made a difference in your careers as well, in terms of impacting your students and our students. But I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you do. Patrick, I want to thank you for the leadership that you show our group of our ed support professionals. But again, the difference that you all make is not something that we take lightly, and it's something that shines, I think, each and every day. So I just want to thank you, and I have a proclamation that I'm going to read today. And this says, whereas public schools are the backbone of our democracy, providing young people with the tools they need to maintain our nation's precious values of freedom, civility, and equality. And whereas educational support professionals are an integral part of the education process. And whereas education support professionals work tirelessly to serve our children and communities with care and professionalism. And whereas on a daily basis, our education support professionals take great pride in using their numerous skills, which are rooted in human relations, communications, verbal presentations, technical knowledge, use of resources, and positive personality traits. And whereas the education support professionals in our school district are to be commended for the professional manner in which they perform their duties. They put forth effort, individually and collectively, to assure that our educational system will continue to have prosperity and success. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida, does hereby recognize and proclaim November 2016-2022 as National Education Support Professionals Day. And I'm sure, Board, as I've said, about the value of each and every one of our employees, and especially today, our ed support professionals. Some of you may also have some words.
So before we get started, Mr. Chambers, on comments, we do need to vote on this. So if we can, I need a motion to accept the proclamation that was presented by Mr. Chambers. So do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Ivanchek. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. And we will start with Ms. Gardner and work our way around.
Okay. Last Thursday, Patrick and I shared some information, or shared some of the comments that were made when we were trying to select the educational support professional. And it was so touching. And Pineapple, I see you sitting there, and you sat and you listened to those, and I don't think there was a dry eye. And the individuals that we were sharing, that were sharing their information, what they were sharing with us was not part of their job description. This is what they did above and beyond for the students, for these children. Money coming out of their pocket, and they're just such loyal, dedicated, committed individuals for, not, like I said, not only for their job description, but for these children. And even though, I mean, today we are doing the proclamation, I think Wednesday is the National Professional Day, but please know that every single day we recognize, we see what you're doing, we thank you, probably don't thank you enough, but we truly, truly do. See what you're doing, again, thank you, and you're doing it for the students, and you're a very valuable part of Team Okaloosa, so thank you.
Ms. Vancheck?
Well, bottom line, we couldn't do it without you. We just, I don't know where our district would be without all of our support individuals. Your position, all of you, is a special place in my heart because for 20 years, my mom was a lunch lady. And so I always thought that was wonderful and respected that and got to see from that side how important you are. But do know, I know sometimes you don't get the light shined on you like some other employees, but please know that we haven't forgotten you and that we appreciate you. I've been honored to serve on the committee, just like Ms. Garner before, to make that choice, and it was one of the most difficult jobs I've had as a school board member because, again, to single, even 3 people out is just so hard to do because each of you has a place, and that place is important for us to get to do and to be the well-known, the excelling district that we are. Please know that your place is so important, and I just want to thank you.
Dr. Kelly?
Okay, well, most of you know that in my career, I had the opportunity of serving as principal at 3 schools, and I can say honestly, at all 3 schools, the support personnel really, really wore the battle scars and really held our students up and really kept us the A schools that we were in all 3 schools. And I just want you to know that your passion provided purpose for a lot of those kids. I saw a lot of those students that never made a connection necessarily with administration or with their teacher, but they did with you. And so you really made the day, brightened the day for a lot of those kids. And I'll never forget some of those particular situations that we had, and you know those too, with students that some would maybe even say unreachable, but you reached them. And for that, I'll always be grateful. Thank you for what you do every day. And as it's been alluded to, I'm so proud that this is not just a proclamation we do in voice only. This is a meaningful proclamation that we really believe in. So thank you for the proclamation, and thank you for what you do every day.
All right, thank you. Dr. White?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I'll just say, just like Dr. Kelly, I worked for a long time in this school district as a principal, and if it weren't for the support professionals and the schools that I worked at, I wouldn't have had nearly as long a career. And we just appreciate everything that you folks do for our students and for our schools, and just heartfelt thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Dr. White. And I'll echo what my colleagues have just said. We appreciate all of our support people throughout the district. You look at these walls around here, those are the support people that keep the building up, that keeps everything going. Whether it's the bus drivers, the lunchroom, everybody in between, they make a difference every day. And I can tell you that as a child growing up, there was 2 people in education that had an impact on my life. There was several teachers, but there was 2 support people in particular. So Ms. Freeman, my bus driver, so there you go. And then Ms. Powell, the lunchroom lady. So, as a young man growing up, you always wanted to make sure you had that connection in the lunchroom. So Ms. Powell was definitely that person. But I say that because she did have a positive impact on my life, and she was just such a sweet person who, not just me, but all the kids that came through the lunch line, everybody looked forward to seeing Ms. Powell every day. So, but that's how it is throughout the school district. We have educators and we have support people, but everybody's making a difference in these kids' lives, and we appreciate all that you do. Mr. Chambers?
Thank you. Patrick?
Well, I've been thinking about this, what to say all day, and usually I'm not at a loss for words, but support personnel in Okaloosa County School District, I think y'all saw a little bit of my heart Thursday when I shared. But I think back to Valparaiso Elementary School, where I started in '69, I think, with Miss Hannah in kindergarten. And it was shortly after that that I met, I called her Miss Meanie, because she was the library assistant. And so one day she had to get on me, and I asked her what her name was, and she told me Miss Meanie. Well, I fell in love with her. Never knew her real name, but I saw her probably 10 years ago, and she said, "Do you remember who I am?" I said, "Yeah, Miss Meanie." I still don't know her real name, but the impact she had on my life was just tremendous. And then I remember Mabel Wood. She was the cafeteria manager at Valparaiso Elementary School, and her staff. I mean, that's back when they fried the chicken there in the kitchen and made rolls every day. And you can tell that had an impact on my life. And then Miss Hicks was my bus driver. In high school, I didn't ride the bus until high school. Miss Hicks was a phenomenal bus driver. And Marvin, I have to tell you, Marvin, I don't even know his last name, but the custodian at Valpy Elementary School, the support personnel in Okaloosa County School District have tremendous impact on my life. We appreciate y'all for recognizing us tonight, and we love serving the kids in Okaloosa County.
Thank you, Patrick. And school board, if you'd join me.
All right, everybody right here. All right, got it.
The two y'all that are in the back, it's your name. Yeah, y'all are.
No, she's
Just a little bit. Not blocking somebody, here we go.
Thank y'all.
Thank you for coming out tonight also. Good job.
Public hearing. Yeah, that'll work out good.
Good job there, Sue.
All right, we're going to recess for 2 minutes. We do have public hearing at 6:15, so we're going to recess for 2 minutes. I call this meeting back to order, and school board members, if you would, go to section 17. We are in public hearing. 17.1 is the public hearing for adoption of a new job description for foreman fire safety as presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the superintendent for approval. Is there anybody from the public here wishing to address item 17.1? Hearing and seeing none, I need a motion to approve item 17.1.
Move it.
Mr. Chairman, I need to let you know that I'll be abstaining from voting because this may affect a family member.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Evancheck. So with that, I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Gardner. Any other discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries 4-0. So now we'll move back up to Section 5. Or Section 4, we have no visitors tonight, so we are at Section 5, Administrative Personnel Appointments. And 5.1 is the appointment of Specialist Digital Media and Communications Public Information Officer, Digital Media and Communications Department. And this is recommended by the superintendent for approval. Mr. Chambers, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant, School Board. I bring before you Ms. Catherine Card. Ms. Card grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, and went on to receive her Bachelor's of Arts degree in Human Development and Family Studies from Auburn University. Afterwards, she obtained her Master's of Public Administration degree from the University of West Florida. Ms. Card began her public service career at the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office as the Community Relations Coordinator, where she developed and delivered public awareness campaigns, media interviews, oversaw all social media, and documented the agency through photography and videography while communicating key initiatives to the public. Ms. Card spent 2 years in Honduras, where she worked for the U.S. State Department, serving in the U.S. Embassy Community Liaison Office. Upon returning to the U.S., Ms. Card worked as the Crisis Communications Specialist for the University of West Florida. Afterwards, she continued her career as a law enforcement public information officer with the Walton County Sheriff's Office, as well as the Policy and Accreditation Specialist for the Fort Walton Beach Police Department. Ms. Card most recently worked for the City of Destin as their public information manager and served as a member of the city's emergency management team that works before, during, and after emergencies to coordinate and plan city operations while keeping staff and the community informed of relevant information. Ms. Card's top priority is her family. She is married to Michael Card, a retired Administration Bureau Chief with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office. Ms. Card and Michael have 4 children and 1 grandchild.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chambers. And with that, I need a motion to approve item 5.1, appointment of specialist Catherine Card, Digital Media and Communications Public Information Officer, Digital Media and Communications Department. Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll move it.
So Ms. Evancheck makes a motion, Ms. Gardner with the second. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the motion carries 5-0. Congratulations, Ms. Card.
So I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. My husband just informed me that apparently I have a lot of family members and friends that are watching online right now. So I'm glad it was all yeses. So, but I wanted to thank you, Superintendent Chambers, for your faith and your confidence in me to do this position. It's been a long time coming. I know Deputy Superintendent Steve Horton, you've done an amazing job, but I know you're a really, really busy man wearing multiple hats. So I'm really excited to be a part of the team and continue building on the strong foundation that we have, and ready to hit the ground running tomorrow. So just, again, thank you so much for all the support and having, again, that faith and confidence. And really do want to say thank you to my family. All of our children are all products of this school system. We could not be more proud of them. We had 2 that graduate from Choctaw and 2 that will be graduating from Niceville High School. So that rivalry is going to be really interesting. But I still feel like I still get the cool mom points, because when I'm at school, my daughters actually do still acknowledge me. So that's a good thing. And then, of course, to my husband, who has been my strongest support system and has always been ready and willing to jump right in for volunteering and being part of SAC and PTO. And I would say that he loves it so much that he's even willing to dress up as superheroes on High Five Fridays. So, but again, I am totally thrilled to be here and very, very excited and ready to be a part of this team and moving forward and engaging our public. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So board members, you've seen these balloon bouquets and baskets and things. This is Miss Cart's laptop. It is procured in world record time. Here's her name badge.
moved it, I see.
So she's a and then a few other things.
Awesome, thank you. I will.
Probably already has an email.
Girls get in right here next to mom and dad, we're on the outside edge. Superintendent.
Okay, I'm gonna take a couple, so everybody sees. Thank you.
That's right. So, Ms. Card, now that you're officially the Public Information Officer, we're going to let you leave tonight, but other board member, school board member, our meetings, you will.
Very busy.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
All right, thank you. All right, so now we are to Section 6, and this is public comment. I had no blue cards tonight. Section 7 is typically workshop, but we do have one item, 7.3, and this is the quarterly progress report of the Sales Tax Citizens Oversight Committee. And Mr. Belcher, it's great to see you, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Our committee chairman for the Citizens Oversight Committee.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate being able to address the board and the district. I'll start by saying we're fortunate, I believe, I don't want to say it's official yet, but I believe that we're going to be able to retain most of our committee members that have been on the committee for this last year. This will be finishing our second full year, starting our third. I believe somehow I've been roped into being chairman again, so very happy to do and serve in that way. Just as a reminder, including myself, there's Mr. Mike Carroll, Jacob Foreman, Bernard Johnson, Vince Mayfield, Leslie Sheekley, Monica Wallace, Susan Holly, and Marcus Wilson representing the entire county, the citizens on behalf. And so I think the composition of that board will stay fairly much intact. There may be a change or two, but at this point I think we're in good shape. I last was before you in early July, if my memory serves. And since that time, we've met on the 12th of July, the 13th of September, and just recently on the 8th of November. And just to kind of give an idea, not only for the board, who is very familiar with our activities, but with the community itself, as a Citizens Oversight Committee, our job is to stomp our foot if anything comes to our attention that we don't like. We are here as a liaison between the community and the district to make sure that the projects that were promised as a part of the legislation, the ordinance actually is coming to pass. And in general, I'll say we're extremely pleased with how things have gone so far. At each meeting, we get a detailed review. And if you're not familiar with this, this is how most of our meetings go. We first get to hear from Miss Julie Perry. And speaking as a CPA, who doesn't practice anymore, but a CPA and an ex-CFO and a current banker, I appreciate the detail of information that Ms. Perry does for us. It is extremely thorough. We get a good idea of the budgeting process. We understand the sources and uses is the language I like to use. And we're able to pepper her with lots of questions, and she's always prepared. And so very, very encouraging what we've seen. The collection so far exceeding budget, as y'all well know. We've been able to accelerate projects without adding. We've just been able to accelerate. So far, the district's been able to accelerate their completion, which is very good from a citizen standpoint. We see things coming to pass even faster than first planned, especially in a difficult environment where supply cost and labor and things have been in a shortage. It's good to see so much progress being made. Then typically, Steve, Mr. Horton gives us a practical standpoint. Steve is great about taking grassroots, layman's sort of perspective and helping the committee members understand. He even at this last meeting grilled us to make sure we had appropriate information if we were asked by the community how to respond to certain general questions we might receive, which is actually very excellent. I appreciate that Steve does that, because if we get stopped in the community and somebody says, can you tell me, like in Destin where I live, what has been the half-cent sales tax remitted to the charter school in Destin? I have some idea of how to answer that appropriately, or other questions that we might receive. And the different members of the community get different questions based on where their location is within the county. So that's fantastic. So I appreciate Steve doing that for us, and he keeps us corralled, which I think is generally one of his job titles that's not actually in his title is Chief Corraller. Then from Jacob Titan, Joel Linder gives us a real technical review of projects, very detailed about where things are going. And we tend to, it's amazing to see the complexion of the committee and the types of questions being asked. Mr. Mayfield being someone with an IT experience in big projects, he has some very detailed questions. A lot of times they have to do with those matters. Bernard Johnson will ask something from his perspective, and it's just really good to be able to hear Joel be able to respond to those and to see that they are being governed in a way that that we find very acceptable. I appreciate the flow of information we get from Jacobs Titan, and it seems like that they have a good feel for where they need to move on projects. I'll say that, and this is not their first rodeo, but their ability to be able to manage multiple projects the way that they have, from our perspective, has been very good. Then we're also very fortunate that at each meeting, if necessary, Mr. Smith is generally there, Mr. Myers, Mr. Grant Myers is generally there to help answer other questions. And we always have Jeff with us as well to provide good counsel. So the meetings are productive, and having the committee be retained significantly from the previous year and going into next year, I think will help us. Familiarity oftentimes breeds contempt, but in our case, I think familiarity with the projects have helped us ask better questions and give better oversight. To the best of our ability, that's what we're charged to do, and that's what we're hoping to do. And so we're very pleased, and we're also pleased, I'll just conclude with this, with how the projects are changing in nature. Some of the early projects that were very dear to all of us and to you as well, and to the district most especially, such as the single point of entry and the security issues, have been addressed. Some of the very most important things have been done or are being completed. I don't want to overspeak, but it seems like that dire necessity, especially as it relates to safety and security, has been done. And now, going forward, newer projects will address even greater security concerns. That's great progress, especially over a short period of time of 24 months. The multipurpose buildings at Fort Walton Beach, Crestview, Baker, Chalktown, and Iceville are in some form of completion. The one at Fort Walton I happened to be by the other day, and the one at Crestview as well. Just substantial work going on there. It's great to see those major new additions as assets to the community coming online. And then to hear about things like additional classroom space at Silver Sands, Elliott Point, Crestview, and Laurel Hill, also much needed. Getting away from portables, getting into real classrooms, getting nice facilities for the district staff and for the students to attend is a huge plus for us from a citizen standpoint. And then the cafetoriums, I love that phraseology, cafetoriums. Anywhere you can go and eat and see a show is phenomenal as far as I'm concerned. I'm especially drawn to the one at Edwin's because my mother-in-law taught there for so many years. And if you know how much she means to me, you'll know how special that is. So to see major improvements in these cafetoriums going up at Edwin's, right, playing down the road for Ruckle, Plough, Bob Sykes, and Shalimar, these are major additions that will help, I know, y'all as a board, the district and the staff, be able to bring our children along and continue to be an outstanding, if not the most outstanding district within the state. So from a citizen standpoint, I'm just here to say that we're very pleased with the way things are going so far. I have no reason to stomp my foot tonight. If we do, we'll let you know, but at this point, I don't have a great deal more to add. I'm here to answer any questions.
I'd like to ask you something, Mr. Belcher.
Yes,
How are
ma'am.
you?
I'm
to
good,
see you.
Miss Linda. Good to see you.
We are given reports that our sales tax revenues are better than we anticipated.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sure that's communicated with your group.
In great detail by Miss Julie, absolutely.
Yes, And so, as a citizen, do you think that word's getting out and we're doing a good job of letting the people know? Because, when we put this referendum up and wanted the citizens to pay, to vote for that, of course, that's difficult anytime you're asking people for
Sure.
more money.
I hate taxes. So,
Right.
Yes,
And so,
absolutely.
I just, want to make sure that people understand that was a good decision by our citizens, our voters, and that it's paying off. Not only it's better than we thought with the report you're talking about, but what is your perception of that, sir?
I think it's been very effective at this point, Miss Linda. I will say this, that on my way in, I knew I had some, well, it's public knowledge now, that Catherine was leaving the city of Destin, so I've worked with her for a long time, and the first thing I did when I came through, besides congratulating her, was mention 2 publications that I thought she needed to maybe reach out to, a couple of private publications that have wide disbursement within the county, and talk about some of the projects going on and stuff. So as good as it's been, and I think it's been effective, there's always a chance to do it better. And it's amazing, especially with the number of new citizens that have moved into the area over the last few years, how little they know yet about the things that the board and that the district's been up to. I know, for example, that I'm extremely involved with the leadership program for the Destin Chamber. And so we use that as a means to communicate to 25 or 30 new persons. And sometimes you find folks who grew up in Destin who are coming along in their professional career and who participate in the program. But for the most part, it's folks who've been here 5 years or less. And so I would think engaging some of the leadership programs, because those are the spokesmen in the community that are going to have the most influence, are going to have a good deal of influence to help get that out. That's another way that we could continue to tell the story and tell it better. Personally, I think it's been done well. I think it's been done so well all the way back, and I'll give Michelle Ankers the entire credit. I don't know anybody in this community who can tell Michelle Ankers no about anything. And so when she was first advocating this among the business community, her ability to be able to communicate was great. And I think so many people bought off on it. They've been following so far. So I think the district and the board have done a great job of getting that out. But it could be, we could reinvest ourselves in that. So I'm sure that there are some folks who have no idea, and they would say everything is terrible and this is the worst thing on the face of the earth. But I think for the most of the community who's engaged and knowledgeable and have a vested interest in, and they should have, everyone should have a vested interest, but have a vested interest in how the district's run, understands that this is a game changer for us for the next generation, that we've been unable to do anything like this for such a long period of time, that now this is coming to pass, and the fruits of it are coming right out of the ground and we can see it. So communicating that is a great thing. I mean, it's rare that citizens get to see their government working so well to produce so much. And the fact that it was designed in such a way to be collected mostly from out-of-towners who visit, that's even better. We like that too.
Thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate
ma'am.
that.
I hope that answered your question.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You asked me what time it is. I'll tell you how to wind a watch.
Well, I would just have to say that we have 39 schools, and each one of those schools so far has had an impact with the half-cent sales tax.
Absolutely.
And of course, we have big signs out there that show people, this is what's happening, and then of course they get to see it. I represent the Crestview area.
Yeah.
They see what's happening at Crestview. They see what's happening at Laurel Hill.
Yeah.
Soon Bob Sykes will be coming
Yeah.
along. So a lot of great things are happening. They see it, and they saw it happen pretty fast.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So.
Gymnasiums that don't leak anymore, new floors somebody says, well, why does a gymnasium floor matter so much? Well, when you're trying to develop the entire person, the academics, the athletics, the band and the extracurricular, all those things matter. And so a proper floor to be able to play basketball on or volleyball matters. And it can matter to the advancement of education for that person. A really good cafetorium where the jazz band can have a performance matters to those kids. So, I think they're seeing it. But I would say, speaking on the committee's behalf, y'all set the bar so high, we're not going to let you off the hook. So, Marcus, you and your people have a lot to do. Steve, you've got to keep this high return on investment that we've come to see so far. So, I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Anyone else? That's good.
Yeah. Thank you,
All right.
Mr.
Thank you all
Melton.
very much. I
All right.
appreciate all
Thank
y'all
you.
doing
Good
your
to see you.
service.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so now we'll move to Section 8, and this is the consent agenda. 8.1 is the approval of the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move it.
Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries 5-0. So now we'll move down to Section 9, and this is the superintendent's human resource recommendations. 9.1 and 9.2 are information only, so we'll start at 9.3, and that's employment separations. I need a motion to approve, please.
Move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Savancheck. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 9.4, personnel recommendations. I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Ms. Garner makes a motion. Makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Second, Dr. White. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 9.5, employee transfers. Need a motion to approve, please.
I'll move it.
Ms. Savancheck makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Second, Ms. Garner. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 9.6, employee termination. I need a motion to approve, please.
Move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? The motion carries 5-0. 9.7, reinstatement, reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness, injury, medical examination. I need a motion to approve, please.
I'll move it.
Ms. Garner makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Savancheck. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And finally, 9.8 is leave without pay. Need a motion to approve, please.
I'll move it.
Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Second, Dr. White. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Section 10 is the discussion agenda. We had nothing that was moved. So now we're at Section 11, construction program owners, representatives, business. And Dr. Kelly, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so while I'm passing out the agenda to my colleagues, I'll just tease with Mr. Belcher for a second. You talked so much about Steve Horton over here. I just have a question for you. Does he bring you crumble cookies? So there.
You may.
Sure. You probably better.
No, but I have that expectation at this point. Actually, Steve, I can't have the sugar, but speaking on behalf of the rest of the board, you better bring them some.
Okay. So it is a delight to bring these up-to-date reports to you every month after we meet as a district committee. So we'll start right away with task order number 2, district-wide school security upgrade projects. And as Mr. Belcher said, we are so proud that due to the sales tax, we're able to move these along quickly. And so task order 2 is mostly completed. The only thing lacking are a few minor core issues at Eglin and Antioch, and that's just where they replaced the construction grade core with the permanent one. So all is good there. Shortly, we'll be able to take that one off our list. So on the second page, task order 4, which was Baker and Pryor's kitchen renovation. That's only remaining is Pryor's kitchen renovation. And with there, the exterior cooler has been installed with the canopy, and we're resolving the Okaloosa gas issues, and then the ceilings can be installed. The hood is installed as well, and then the rooftop units will come later. The food service equipment deliveries and installations are being coordinated with the food service department. Hopefully that will be in early December. That brings us to task order 9, repairs to Jack Foster Stadium at Crestview. That is done, and that will fall off our list tonight. Task order 11, district-wide sales tax roofing projects. There is nothing to report there, and that one too is almost out of its warranty period. After that, if there are no issues, that one can fall off. Task order 12, district-wide sales tax construction projects. Those are the multipurpose buildings that Mr. Belcher referred to. And Fort Walton Beaches, we'll just say the pre-engineered metal buildings package. That's the PMB. We might have to add that to that glossary that I created for you guys. That construction is complete with the metal wall roof panels were installed as of yesterday. The mezzanine slab is complete, and the interior framing is 85% complete. Crestview High School, the under slab work is complete. That slab was placed there November the 2nd, and that package, the metal is to be shipped the end of this month, and hopefully early December, we can see that coming up as well. Baker School, the spread footings are poured, and the backfilling of the site is begun, and we should see hopefully a January delivery of that metal work as well. Choctawhatchee High School, all the water and gas lines in the area of the building footprint have been relocated or capped, and those footings are formed and ready for concrete on Tuesday, tomorrow. Niceville High School, the relocation and redesign of that building has resulted in a little bit of a delay until the start of construction, but that has now been settled, and the baseball field house will be relocated in December to make room for the new footprint of the new building. Now for the classroom additions. Silver Sands, the backfilling of that slab, the soil compaction, the termite treatment, and the welded wire mesh placement all took place in preparation for that slab to be poured. You may recall me saying that the slab was poured on October the 25th. Here's another abbreviation for you, the CMU, the concrete masonry unit wall construction began October 27th after the slab saw cutting and the door frame placement. All of that is continuing. Elliott Point School, we're approximately 2 weeks behind Silver Sands because they are sharing labor. The excavation of that site foundation placement began in mid-October, and the under-slab work began then as well. The backfilling of the slab, the soil compaction, termite treatment, all of that is in progress also. Crestview High School, the strip footings were excavated in early October and were poured October 18th after compaction was achieved. Laurel Hill School, excavation of the site for foundation placement began in late October as well. That strip footing was poured November the 1st, and the foundation block stem wall installation was completed also. Now for those cafetoriums. Edwins Elementary School, this project has been bid to local general contractors, and a contract has been written. Construction fencing was installed, and the site clearing began in late October. That building pad is in place, and the spread footing excavation will begin this week. Wright Elementary, Ruckle Middle, Plew Elementary, Bob Sykes, and Shalimar, all of those projects were bid to local general contractors on October 27th, and we are working now with the low bidder to execute the contract. That brings us to Task Order 14, that's Fort Walton Beach Boys Field House. That project is done and is under warranty with no issues, so that one also will fall off our list next time. Task Order 15, the gym floor replacement at Davidson, Crestview, and Lewis. That is complete, and we'll need a full season of weather changes to make sure that those floors have settled in as promised. So that should be coming along. Task Order 16, the roofing and canopy projects at Choctaw and Lewis. That is effectively done, and now we're looking for a GMP for the front entry projects. Those will be submitted to this board in January, hopefully. Task Order 17, that's the roof replacement at Bluewater and at Walker Elementary. That design work has reached the DD, or the design development level. We'll review the drawings and provide comments and generate a 100% construction document shortly. And we should see a GMP in early 2023, hopefully early January. Task Order 18, that was a time and materials for soffit repair at Destin Elementary. That is complete with no issues thus far, and it also is in the warranty period. Task Order 19, Richburg School Building 12 renovations. The architect has provided an acceptable floor plan design, and we're continuing with the development of that drawing. Expect that drawing for review later this month. That brings us to Task Order 20. That is the 2022-2023 priority roofing projects. You may recall us saying every single time that the ISO board is a long lead item, and it still is. But however, the design work has progressed for Longwood, Fort Walton Beach, Silver Sands, Laurel Hill, and Richburg roofing projects, and those are included in this priority list. Those have been reviewed and currently are being provided feedback on those drawings. The Longwood project will be the first completed design, and then we'll submit a GMP for that one in December. Other projects will follow according to the schedule as planned. That brings us to task order 21 on the next page. Longwood Elementary School's classroom renovation. That one is moving along. The planning for this project is progressing with a preliminary review meeting held with the principal on November the 1st. That design work will continue with a GMP expected to be submitted in spring 2023, with construction to take place this summer. Task order 22, time and materials for the district-wide ADA sidewalk and parking lot striping. Completing the site designs with the sidewalk and striping to prepare for the bidding projects to the local general contractors. That is in progress now. Task order 23, high school auditorium upgrades. The field data has been collected for those projects, and they're working with the sound and lighting specialty designers to complete designs for pricing. Task order 24, central admin complex renovation phase 1. You've heard me talk about this before. I'm so excited. The design work is progressing and should be complete in January. There were some minor modifications to reflect some changes, and those are being incorporated. That will be timed with the arrival of the funding as well. Task order 25, time and materials for district-wide stadium projects. There's no movement on that one at this time, but just know that nothing happening there will impede graduations. Task order 26, time and materials for asbestos abatement here in the central complex. That design package has been released for bidding, and the work is scheduled for December 22nd through January the 4th while no one is in this building. Task order 27, Bruner Middle School's chilled water piping and HVAC project. The field investigatory work began for this project in early October, and the scope of that project is still being developed with those engineers. Task order 28, district-wide phase 2 security upgrades. They are still gathering that data. That was begun October 21st, and that requires detailed site visits to be performed at every campus in the district, and that was accomplished last week. And then that information will be tabulated and likely to be had in a phased approach. Task order 29, CTE renovations at Crestview High School and the Titan Commercial Building. Those buildings need a roof, but the CTE funds are not going to pay for that roof, so we're still gathering information on that project before moving forward. Task order 30, lighting and electrical service at Lewis School and at Crestview High and Niceville High. The initial field work has been completed on those projects, and we are awaiting approval to begin the formal design work. So hopefully that will be approved tonight. And so under additional topics, the only thing I have to add is the Citizens Oversight Committee will meet next on January the 10th here in this building at 4 o'clock. And we heard from Jason Belcher tonight. And I'd just like it noted that I have thoroughly enjoyed working with this team on this committee and seeing all the great work that is being done in this district with our sales tax funding. I'm so proud to see all of those needed projects finally coming fruition, even towards the end of a long career here. I'm just so proud to see all of this needed work come to pass here in our district. I think everybody that I talk to is certainly equally as ecstatic as I am. So, thank you.
Well, I can see, and Dr. White and I can attest to this, because before, when Mr. Destin was on the construction, his meeting was very brief because there was nothing going on. And now to see this, we're like 4 pages of things that are going on, so really exciting. I do have one question regarding Longwood Elementary. You did say the construction was going to begin in the summer. Is that going to last longer than the summer, or is that just or is it going to be a summertime?
So right now, the anticipated plans are that it would start in the summer or early or late spring and be done by the start of the school year. That is the current plan.
Okay, wow. Love it.
I have a question on, excuse me, on task order 29 about the Titan building. I know that's where we're doing our medical partnership. And so what's our status there? Are we renting that, or?
Yes, ma'am. Recently, the board approved a 7-year lease.
Okay, lease. Yep.
For that facility at no lease cost. We are responsible for the utilities while we're there. But I also believe that Triumph Gulf Coast grant funding will
That's what I
provide
was thinking.
funding for some improvements that need to be done there.
So when we look at these renovations, she'd mentioned that this isn't under sale, so we're responsible for getting that building where we need it for those students to do what they have to do
Through that Triumph grant, yes, ma'am.
through the Triumph grant.
Mhm.
But we're going to, are we going to, so we're going to bid that out, or how do we do that?
It would be done just like everything else. It'd be competitive bids, and we'll award to the best and lowest price.
And we're expecting to start on that when, do we know?
I
Or
think
get
we're
those
in
bids
that
going.
was the pre-GMP process, so we
Right.
don't have a GMP for that at this point in time. So when
Right.
that comes, we'll bring it to the board. I don't
Okay.
have an exact date on that, but I can find that out.
And so even though we're leasing, we're allowed to make those changes?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
great, good, thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Kelly, for
course. Thank you.
always
Great
the
report.
great report.
My pleasure.
And you were right, we do have a couple items that we are going to be voting on. That was part of your report tonight, and that's going to be item 11.2. This is the authorization for professional services from Faithful and Gold for price validation for program number 6, task order number 29, CTE renovations at Crestview High School and Titan Commercial Building. And with that, I need a motion to approve, please.
I'll move it.
Ms. Gardner makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Second, Dr. White. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And then 11.3 is program number 6, task order number 30, time and materials task order, construction of new electrical services at Lewis School and Crestview High School with upgrades at Niceville High School. With that, I need a motion to approve.
Move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Vancheck. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Section 12, Information Technology Seat Management Contract. We had no business there tonight. And Section 13, Mr. McInnes, I'll turn it over to you.
No report tonight.
All right, thank you, sir. And Section 14, Superintendent's Business. Mr. Chambers, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan, School Board. As you know, on Thursday, we had Mr. Horton come up, and part of our department updates that we're given each month, he gave an update on all things capital to include the half-cent sales tax, and I appreciate that thorough review. Also gave some updates regarding the parent meetings that we've started, as well as student services updates. And I just appreciate that time, and I do want to take a moment just to acknowledge we have some folks with us from Leadership Okaloosa, and the 4 individuals who are here each said that they wanted to come up and give a 10-minute briefing about their experience. Did you want to come forward? I think they're good, but just thank you for being with us today.
All right, thank you. All right, so now we'll move to Section 15, Board Members' Announcements and Requests for Information. And I will start with my Vice Chair, Dr. Kelly, tonight.
Okay. I said this on Thursday, but I'll bear it out because it is worth repeating. I'm so excited that we are hosting Dr. Hudnall, who is the creator of the Hope Squad, which is our youth mental health and suicide prevention program. He will be here. He is a world-renowned speaker on suicide prevention, youth mental health, and postvention. And he will be here this week, November the 16th, visiting our principals meeting, training our principals on postvention, and visiting some Hope Squads throughout the district on the 16th. And then on November the 17th, he will be training our guidance counselors, our mental health specialists, our social workers, and our behavioral specialists on postvention as well, followed by that evening at Beachside Community Church at 6:30, a community meeting, and we encourage everyone who has a young person in their home, or his grandparent, or just a friend of a young person, to come out and hear him speak. I think that your eyes will be open to some statistics that you'll find interesting, as well as some techniques and tactics that we can use to help reach our students who might be in a mental health crisis. So I encourage everybody to come out the 17th to Beachside Community Church and hear Dr. Hudnall speak. It's an opportunity that we don't have very often locally, and I just hope he has a big crowd to come and hear him. I would like to say congratulations to Niceville High School student Sky Talbert, who ran a 14.4 in the 100-meter hurdles, breaking an 11-year-old record. And I saw recently where she received a track and field scholarship to Arkansas. And I'd like to offer my congratulations to Niceville High School journalism teacher Kelly Humphrey, who she and her staff won a Troy State honor here recently, but she also has been named as the Teacher of the Year for Niceville High School, and to Melissa Blackman, who is Niceville's Support Person of the Year. I also wouldn't be doing my duties if I didn't mention some dates. So, therefore, we have about a week from tonight until Thanksgiving holidays, and from tonight about 40 days until Christmas, which also marks the end of the first semester, shortly followed by the kickoff of second semester. So just mark your calendars. It seems to me like this year is going by more quickly than any, and, especially in post-COVID days.
Yes, it has definitely been
That's all
flying
I
by.
have.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Dr. White?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, y'all remember that I spoke at length at a workshop about school news, and so tonight I'll just say congratulations to Choctawhatchee High School's football team for their victory over St. Augustine, and wish them good luck in the upcoming game Friday night at Pine Forest High School in Pensacola.
And if I might, I did forget one thing. And, I was trying to skip over it. Not really. This is easy for me because I spent 4 years as a Big Red Marching Machine band parent. But our chair here challenged me that if Crestview beat Niceville at our game on Friday, that I would wear the Crestview colors and T-shirt. In my move, I misplaced my T-shirt, but I do have lots of Crestview memorabilia from my daughter having gone there. So I did dress in Crestview colors, and I have on one of Crestview Bulldog pins here in honor of their victory on Friday night. We congratulate them too. But one of my favorite parts of that night, as in every football night, is hearing the bands play, because both of these teams, as all of our teams, have spectacular band programs. So it was a great night,
Right.
no
Thank you.
matter who won.
That's right. Well, and Dr. Kelly, I will just say this, and I'll just say this for my rest of my board members. We believe in our school district.
Absolutely.
We do have our allegiances to our teams, of course, but at the end of the day, we are one school district. And I am glad that we can have fun in promoting our schools. And at the end of the day, we can still be friends and
Absolutely.
have a great time. And so I appreciate that.
It's probably not so much a rivalry with me because I've actually served as a principal in all 3 zones of our
That's true.
community, so I love them all.
But it's still fun, though.
It is
so.
fun.
Ms. Avenche?
Okay, yes. Well, first, I want to talk about Florosa and congratulate the Teacher of the Year, Jennifer DeJesus, and the sport person, Miss Pickett. Appreciate all they do there at Florosa. Also, speaking of bands and also choir, at Baker, we have some students who've made all-state choir and band, and these are also, some of these are middle school students. Ava Mullins is middle school, and also Abigail Griffin is middle school, also Reagan Peacher and Alicia Whidden also made the state band in the high school, so I'm very proud of them. Okay, and then the big stuff, the bigger stuff, not that that's not good, we're very proud of those students, but let's start with football. The Baker Gators won Friday night, their game, and so they'll be moving on to the regional finals in Chipley come Friday night. I think the temperature is supposed to be like upper 30s in Chipley Friday night, but I hope that, I wish them well and want them to do a good job. And Chipley's a tough team, I understand, so we'll get those Gators out there, but I was very excited to get to witness that game Friday night. And then I cannot tell you how proud I am of the volleyball team at Baker, who traveled to Winter Haven, and they are the 1A runner-up champions in the state of Florida, to be the runner-up champion in the entire state. And your classification is quite an undertaking. I've said several times they went 20 years in a row as district champs, and now they are the runners-up. And the level of competition that I watched was incredible. You had to remind yourself that you were watching high school athletes. The level just keeps getting up there. And I want to congratulate Coach Medley and all her team, and of course, those girls that just played not only with their skill but with their heart and did an excellent job. And I'm very proud of them, and They may not have got the number one, but they should be proud because they represented their community, their school, and Okaloosa County School District so well, not only on the court, but from everything I heard in their demeanor and the way they conducted themselves while they were in another area. So congratulations to all of them. Okay, that's what I have.
They're number one to us.
Thank you. And
They
Ms.
are number one.
That's
They
right.
are.
They are number one to us.
Ms. Carter?
Yeah, I'd just like to congratulate all the young men and the ladies that participated in the sports this past, over the weekend and past, within the week. And as you said, Mr. Bryant, we do have our allegiance to our certain schools, but I've just been just as excited to try to pull up and watch each one of the events, and I'm so proud, and they truly do represent Okaloosa County very well, and I hope they know how much we appreciate and how much we respect them, as you said, individuals and as these athletes. And I know, Mr. Chambers, you're going out, I think, Thursday to announce the first, second, third place. And it's
Great.
been so hard not to say anything. We're educational professionals, support people, and yeah, again, these are just backbones of our school. It's almost like a bicycle that you need two wheels, and if we lost part of our they're just very important to us. They make up everything go around the way it needs to. And I guess that's it. Just had some stuff last week, but this is it.
Thank you, Ms. Gardner. And I would just like to finish off by just saying thank you to all of our schools who honored our veterans this past week. Laurel Hill finished it off today with a great parade, and I know Ms. Martella sent pictures of all that had happened, but it's an honor to be in a school district that appreciates and teaches our young students the importance of what our veterans do and continue to do in our serving our country, and just to see the level of patriotism in each of the schools that I was fortunate to go see. It just makes your heart feel good. So, Mr. Chambers, I thank you for, your leadership in making sure that our schools are participating in the Veterans Day program. And congratulations to Crestview High School. They pulled it off. But our next challenge is now going to be in Gainesville against Buchholz, and that's going to be a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the temperature is not going to be as cold as Chipley, but it's still going to be chilly. But congratulations to Coach Grant and his players, but also to just their fight that they had. But both teams played a great game. I watched it on television. It was just a great game. So both teams played their hearts out. And with that, also, we're leading in, Dr. Kelly is talking about the holidays. This is our last meeting for November. So to everybody out there, I hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and enjoy your time with your families. And when we come back, we'll be heading into the Christmas break, so that's going to be exciting. And but we do wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
I have one more thing to mention to
Yes, ma'am.
mainly to the public. I think everybody knows that next week, 3 of us will be being sworn in for our next term. We'll be reorganizing our board here, so that's an exciting time. And of course, I'm very grateful for that opportunity, as I'm sure that Dr. White and Dr. Kelly are. So we do that next week, while the other on vacation. We'll be getting that together, and that's on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Right here. So we'll be doing that, and then when we come into December, we will have gone into a new term, so to speak. So.
And I'm glad you said that, because typically our organizational meetings are at night, but this one, at the request of the 3 that are being sworn in, we're going to do it at 9 o'clock in the morning. So those who typically come, just make note it is at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it will be here at the Central Complex.
Something tells me there won't be a big crowd since that's the week of Thanksgiving vacation. But they can always stay in their pajamas and watch it online. So.
It will be live streamed this
Yeah,
year.
that's right. Yeah.
All right, so now we are to section 16, and this is the 2-minute version of public comment, and I had no blue cards. And before we adjourn, Ms. Appleberg, Dr. Hale, Ms. Lightbourne, Mr. Horton, Ms. Perry. All right, this meeting's adjourned.